The city's hum was a relentless dirge, a song of concrete and steel drowning out forgotten melodies. For me, Kalen, it was just noise. As a narrative archaeologist, I sifted through the digital sediment of human history, the layers of data and discarded stories, searching for truths society had chosen to bury. I called them the buried narratives, 5 great tales lost to time and apathy. My life's work was to unearth them. Today, I was closing in on the first. The data stream felt different, colder, as I initiated the deep dive. The servers were faded, replaced by the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. My office vanished. I was no longer Kalen. I was something ancient, something vast. My consciousness stretched upwards, a towering pillar of wood and leaf reaching for a sky choked with smog. My roots, thick as pythons, delved deep beneath the asphalt, tasting the bitter tang of pollutants and the ghosts of long-dead rivers. I was the last sentient tree in a metropolis that had systematically paved over every inch of green. They called this progress. I called it erasure. Around me, glass towers clawed at the heavens, their reflections showing only more of themselves, a perfect, sterile loop of self-admiration. They were mirrors that had forgotten what it was to reflect a forest. They had forgotten me. My existence was a silent protest, a living fossil amidst a digital age. I remembered the sun on my leaves, the chatter of birds in my branches, the scurry of squirrels up my trunk. These memories were now digital fossils in my own wooden heartwood, echoes of a world that no longer was. The humans who scurried below like ants never looked up. They were plugged into their own realities, their own narratives, curated and clean. They walked on the graves of my brethren and never felt the ghosts beneath their feet. The city's narrative was simple. Nature was inefficient, a relic to be archived and replaced. Forests don't die, I realized with a profound, woody sadness. They are forgotten. And to be forgotten is a death far more complete than any fire or axe. The wind, a sad, polluted sigh, rustled my remaining leaves. It carried the digital whispers of the city stock market anxieties, celebrity gossip, manufactured outrages. None of it mattered. I filtered it out, reaching deeper into my own core memory, searching for something real. A single vivid image bloomed in my mind, a memory that wasn't just data, but feeling. It was a sun-drenched afternoon from a time before the Great Paving. A little girl, her face a constellation of freckles, knelt in the soft soil at my base. Her hands were careful, cupping a tiny seed. It was my daughter. Not my biological child, but a human who had loved me, who had seen me. Her name was Alara. I remembered the warmth of her small hands against my bark. She whispered to the seed, a promise to the future. "Grow strong," she had said, her voice a melody against the city's distant hum. She planted it in the earth, a tiny act of rebellion, a secret pact between a girl and a tree. That memory, that single act of love, was the anchor that kept my consciousness from dissolving into the digital static. It was the one story the city could not erase, because it was written in the language of life itself. The memory pulsed, a beacon in the lonely darkness of my existence. It was a truth that resonated beyond the concrete, beyond the code. The memory intensified, flooding my senses. The feel of the sun, the smell of the soil, the pure, unfiltered love of the child. It was too much. The world of bark and leaf began to fracture, the digital noise of the city crashing back in. The scent of ozone and hot electronics replaced the smell of damp earth. The cold, sterile light of my office monitors burned through the memory of the sun. With a jolt, I was back in my chair, the neural interface headset humming softly. My heart was pounding, a frantic drum against my ribs. The digital dive was over. I was Kalen again. But something was wrong. My hand, the one that had been resting on my desk, was clenched into a fist. It felt full. I slowly uncurled my fingers. My breath caught my throat. Lying in the center of my palm was not a piece of code, not a data fragment, but a real physical object. It was a sapling. A tiny, perfect tree, no more than a few inches tall, its delicate green leaves unfurling as if greeting the light for the first time. It was impossible. Utterly, completely impossible. I had brought something back from the narrative. Not a memory, not an idea, but a living thing. My mind raced, trying to process the paradox. I ran a quick scan. The lab's genetic sequencer whirred to life, its sensors analyzing the tiny plant. The results flashed on my screen and a cold dread washed over me. The sapling genetic code was a perfect match for a species of oak declared extinct over a century ago. My hands trembled as I picked up the sapling again. That's when I saw it. Something was carved into the impossibly smooth bark, letters so small they were almost invisible. I leaned closer, my desk lamp casting long shadows. The message was short, brutal, and terrifyingly clear. 5 words that shattered my understanding of reality. The erasure is not theory. The world I thought I knew, the history I studied, it was all a lie. This sapling wasn't a digital fossil. It was a warning. A living piece of evidence sent from a forgotten past. Someone or something was not just burying narratives. They were actively erasing reality itself. And they knew I was watching. The city's hum outside my window no longer sounded like a dirge. It sounded like a threat. What other truths were hidden beneath the pavement of our accepted reality? The first buried narrative wasn't just a story. It was a front line in a war one never knew I was fighting. The mirror of our world hadn't just forgotten its reflection. It had been deliberately shattered. And now I held a living shard. This changes everything. The next chapter of this investigation is already beginning. Join me as we follow this impossible clue. What happens when your own forgotten past starts looking for you? Find out in Chapter 4. Your reflection hires a private investigator. We're diving deeper every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The truth waits for no one. Don't get left behind. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single discovery. The story is just getting started.